Hello and welcome to Natural Television News. We are in the capital of Turkey, Ankara. I'll bring to you our news headlines within Turkey and from all over the world. The Turkey Chamber of Commerce and Industry officially opened its doors in Istanbul. Speaking at the first General Assembly of Turkey Chamber of Commerce, the Turkey's Trade Minister Ruhsar Pekcan said the establishment of the union will help Turkey Council countries, Uzbekistan and Turkmenistan to boost their bilateral trade volume. As Turkey Council countries, our gross domestic product reached $1 trillion, but our bilateral trade volume fell short of the figure. Pekcan underlined the share of Turkey Council countries' trade volume rose to 5% globally to $522 billion. Last year, she said, bilateral trade volume among Turkey Council countries increased 16.7% on a year basis to $6.5 billion, she said. Turkey's central bank on Wednesday cut its year-end inflation forecast for 2019 to 13.9%, down from 14.6% in its previous report. The inflation rate will fluctuate between 11.5% and 16.3% through the end of the year, Central Bank Governor Murat Uyusar said during Inflation Report 2019 third presentation meeting held in the capital Ankara. The bank kept inflation forecasts constant for next year and 2021 at 8.2% and 5.4% respectively. Turkey's Humanitarian Relief Foundation is planning to distribute aid to 3 million needy people globally during Eid al-Adha, a major Muslim holiday, according to an official from the group. Several Muslim-majority countries, including Turkey, will mark the first day of the four-day holiday, also known as the Feast of the Sacrifice, on August 11th this year. The Humanitarian Relief Foundation has carried out aid work in over 140 countries and regions so far, and we are prepared for this year's Eid al-Adha work. We've brought animals to be sacrificed and our teams are getting ready, the Foundation's Secretary General Durmuş Aydin told Anadolu Agency in Istanbul. The majestic Sumera Monastery in Turkey's Black Sea province of Trabzon aims to welcome a total of 500,000 local and foreign tourists, with their an official said. Ali Ayvazoglu, the provincial head of the Culture and Tourism Ministry, told Anadolu Agency that, built on a steep cliff at an altitude of 1,200 meters in Altındere National Park, the monastic complex have hosted around 50,000 tourists until last month, after it opened to visitors on May 25th following a 3-year restoration work. Located in Machika district of Trabzon, the monastery is a site of historical and cultural significance as well as major tourist attraction. It was included in UNESCO's temporary list of World Heritage Sites in 2000. Turkey is not deporting Syrians but taking action against illegal migration, a senior Turkish official said yesterday. It is not legally possible to take the decision to deport Syrians due to the current situations in Syria, said Abdulaziz Ayaz, head of the Migration Department at the Interior Ministry. Syria has been locked in a vicious civil war since early 2011, when the Bashar al-Assad regime cracked down on pro-democracy protests. Since then, hundreds of thousands of people have been killed and more than 10 million others displaced, according to the UN officials. Yesterday, the Moscow Zoo celebrated birthdays of two giant pandas gifted to Russian President Vladimir Putin by his Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping as a symbol of friendship in April 2019. Male panda Ru Yi and female Ding Ding got their favorite treats for the birthday as zoologists prepared for each of them an ice cake of 10 kilograms with carrots, bamboo and apples. Besides, a birthday ceremony was also organized in which a traditional Chinese parade with Pepper Dragon was carried out from the zoo's entrance to the panda's pavilion. The ancient city of Assos, located in northwestern Turkey, have remained inhabited since it was first founded some 3,000 years ago, researchers studying the city said yesterday. Situated on a rocky hill overlooking the Aegean Sea in Çanakkale province, Turkish archaeologists have been carrying out uninterrupted excavation work in the ancient city since 1981, after American researchers began in the 1800s. Nurettin Aslan, the head of DIG team, said it included archaeology and architecture students as well as foreign researchers. People have always lived in the ancient city since its founding, Aslan said, with the present village of Berhamkale being its final link. Muslim worshippers circle around the Kaaba, Islam's holiest city site located in the center of the Masjid al-Haram, the Grand Mosque in the holy city of Mecca, Saudi Arabia. Yesterday, ahead of annual Hajj pilgrimage, the fifth pillar of Islam, which is set to begin on August 9th this year. Hajj, a spiritual journey to the holy cities of Mecca and Medina, takes place in the Muslim month of Zilhajj. It is one of the 5 pillars of Islam, obligatory on all Muslims who can afford it at least once in their lifetime. Heading our news in Indonesia, farmers look forward to the harvest season as a time to reap the rewards from a year of hard work, but unfortunately, this does not apply to Indonesia's salt farmers. They cannot enjoy the fruits of their labor because the price of the commodity has plummeted this season. This year, the price of salt has dropped to 30,000 rupiah, which is $2.13 per quintal, at a salt center in Kendung Marang village in Jepara, Central Java, a far cry from 2017 when it sold for 300,000 rupiah, which is equivalent to $21.29 per quintal. To make matters worse, even they sell it for 30,000 rupiah per quintal, they will not get the money right away. If they are lucky enough, the sooner they will get paid is within a week. Democratic frontrunner, former Vice President Joe Biden, repeatedly found himself the target of criticism from many of the Democratic colleagues on the debate stage yesterday in exchanges that were far more acrimonious than in past decades. But Biden was not a sacrificial lamb, sending sharp salvos of his own in return, particularly against California Senate Kamala Harris, his principal centrist challenger at this point in the race. Harris continued to launch attacks against Biden she first issued in the initial series of Democratic debates, singling out his supportive words for segregationist lawmakers while he was serving in the Senate. A North Korean active duty soldier has said he wants to defeat the South Korea after crossing the heavily fortified inter-Korean border, according to Seoul's Joint Chiefs of Staff. The man was discovered on Wednesday night inside the demilitarized zone after confirming that an unidentified object spotted by our thermal observation devices was a person. Our military took him safely into custody in accordance with the protocol, the Joint Chiefs of Staff said in a statement carried by local news agency Yonhap. Such direct defections are rare compared with the thousands that have taken place via China. However, there was a similar incident last December with a North Korean soldier survived being shot multiple times by his own comrades as he successfully crossed into the south in 2017. The Koreas have been making efforts to calm tensions at the border during a period of cooperation and denuclearization dialogue that began last year. Serbia's president praises Russian counterpart for strengthening national military. The Russian Federation is the largest donor to the Serbian armed forces, Serbia's defense ministry said. The Serbian army received the largest donations from the Russian Federation, which donated 6 MiG-29 aircraft and a donation of 30 BRDR M2 armored reconnaissance vehicles and 30 T-72 tanks with supporting logistics elements in underway, the ministry said in a statement. In addition, significant discounts and other benefits were obtained during negotiations for the acquisition of arms and military equipment from the Russian Federation. Floods in Bangladesh have put the lives of 7.6 million people at risk, the International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies said on Wednesday, as official data put the number of deaths so far at 119. Hundreds of thousands of people are stranded in northern and northeastern parts of the country, while more than 600,000 homes have been damaged. People are also forced to live in unsanitary conditions and lack safety drinking water and adequate shelter, raising fears of widespread disease outbreaks. Communities are also reporting food shortages as more than 160,000 hectares of farmland have been damaged, said the Federation. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan congratulated newly elected British Prime Minister Boris Johnson in a phone call Wednesday, according to Turkey's Presidential Directorate of Communications. Erdogan underlined that the UK and Turkey are strategic partners and expressed his hope that bilateral relations between the two countries would develop in all areas. Johnson was elected Prime Minister on July 23rd by the membership of the Conservative Party after receiving 92,153 votes. Russian President Vladimir Putin held talks by phone with his U.S. counterpart Donald Trump, the Kremlin said yesterday. During the conversation, which was initiated by the U.S. side, Trump offered U.S. assistance in battling wildfires in Siberia, which Putin said Moscow would accept if necessary, the Kremlin press service and in a statement on the presidential website. Putin informed Trump that a large air group has been deployed to the area to speed up the process of extinguishing the fires, the statement also said. Wildfires in the dense Siberian forests have spread to about 3 million hectares, prompting a high alert. President Putin has instructed the Defense Ministry to assist in firefighting efforts. The fires were first detected in March and then May, but they gradually got out of control due to the dry summer. Hamza bin Laden, the son of Al-Qaeda founder Osama bin Laden, died in an airstrike, the U.S. media outlets reported, citing intelligence officials. The place or date of death were unclear. The Pentagon did not comment. Bin Laden, thought to be aged about 30, had released audio and video messages calling for attacks on the U.S. and other countries. As recently as February, the U.S. government offered $1 million for information leading to his capture. His death was widely reported by U.S. media outlets including NBC News, the New York Times, and the CNN, citing unnamed U.S. intelligence officials. The report said Hamza bin Laden was killed in a military operation in the last 2 years and U.S. government was involved, but the exact date and time were unclear. President Donald Trump declined to comment when questioned by reporters yesterday, as he did the White House National Security Advisor John Bolton. Bin Laden had urged jihadists to avenge his father's killing by U.S. Special Force in Pakistan in May 2011. In 2018, in his last known public statement, he called on the people of the Arabian Peninsula to revolt. Saudi Arabia stripped him of his citizenship in March. South Africa saw record levels of unemployment with 6.7 million jobless, the country's worst since the global financial crisis over a decade ago, said a government report released. According to the report published by Statistics South Africa, the unemployment rate increased by 1.4 percentage points from 27.6% in the first quarter of 2019 to 29% in the second quarter of 2019. The number of unemployed persons increased by 455,000 to 6.7 million people in the second quarter of 2019 compared to the second quarter of 2019, resulting in an increase of 476,000 in labor force, the report posted on July 31st said. The findings revealed that the level of unemployment was high in South Africa and that there were few jobs open to competition. About 130 inmates at a prison in Egypt's capital, Cairo, have been on hunger strike for more than 6 weeks to protest against inhuman conditions and the denial of family visits, rights group Amnesty International has said. The authorities at Al Aqrab maximum security prison in southern Cairo have reiterated against the deniers and detainees by beating them, applying electric shocks with tasers, and punished some of them with disciplinary measures. Amnesty quoted a statement from the detainees as saying, "By refusing to allow detainees to see their families, the Egyptian authorities are flagrantly flouting both Egyptian and international law and displaying cautious cruelty," Amnesty added. An international human rights watchdog has described recent talks between the Rohingya representatives and the Myanmar delegation as disappointing. The New York-based Human Rights Watch said that during the talks, the Myanmar delegation failed to make a convincing case for the safe return of refugees. The 10-member delegation, led by Permanent Secretary of the Myanmar Foreign Ministry, Mint Thu, arrived at a sprawling refugee settlement in Cox's Bazar, Bangladesh, earlier this week to discuss the repatriation of the Rohingya population. Yesterday, the Senate narrowly confirmed former U.S. Ambassador to Canada, Kelly Craft, as America's new UN ambassador. The 56-34 vote saw 5 Democrats break ranks with their party in support of Craft, who will replace former UN envoy Nikki Haley following her resignation at the end of 2018. Most Democrats withheld their support over concerns of her limited foreign affairs experience and potential conflicts of interest stemming from her husband's career as a coal mining executive. Also at issue was a series of absences from Ottawa while she was serving as Washington's ambassador to Canada. Craft and her husband Joe are major Republican funders, and she is reportedly the first such person to be confirmed the US's top UN post. Today, the 13th round of the international high-level meeting on Syria kicks off with a bilateral meeting between Iranian delegation led by Ali Asghar Haji, senior advisor to the Iranian Foreign Ministry, and Russian delegation led by Russian President Vladimir Putin's special envoy for Syria, Alexandra Ravrenchia, in Nur-Sultan, Kazakhstan. From Japan, the two politicians have taken their seats in Japan's parliament as the first lawmakers with several disabilities. Yasuhiko Funango and Eiko Kimura are suffering from serious paralysis and both depend on carriers. Japan's upper house required special modifications to allow for their access. Their election last month has been seen as a major step for representation and visibility of disabled people in Japan. Thank you so much for being with us. You can check our social medias of Natural Television, or you can send us a message on our WhatsApp number written on your screen for any comments. Natural Television from Ankara, the capital of Turkey. My name is Sauda Mganga. See you soon.